Hello everyone and welcome to episode 26 of Reconstructing Cave Story. In this episode we're going to be expanding upon our number sprite. And our number sprite, if you remember, was the health, an example of it was the health number in the top left corner. And it was just a white 3. But we also need to have, we need to represent damage or red text. And we also sometimes need to prepend the number with plus or minus. So if it's damage, it's going to be minus, and if it's experience points, it's going to be a plus, and it's going to be a white number if it's experience. So our solution is going to be just adding some named constructors to our number class. And what named constructors are, or at least their implementation, is just static methods that return an object. And it's a bit like our create test map, except we're going to be returning our objects on the stack, and this is returning it on the heap. I should clarify that the stack and the heap in C++ are kind of hazy notions, and I've read that the language doesn't even have a stack or a heap, but basically the create test map news data, and the static method just returns it wherever its local stack. I don't know exactly how it works, but I'll show you what I mean soon. So we're gonna have 3. HUDNumber, DamageNumber, and ExperienceNumber. I might implement the ExperienceNumber while we're here, but we're not actually going to use it until later. So let's start with the HUDNumber. So the HUDNumber is the number that we're already actually using for our player.cc or playerhealth.cc. So down here where it's number sprite, it's going to be something like number sprite : HUDNumber. So let's go ahead and jump into our number sprite class and implement this HUDNumber named constructor, because it'll be really easy and you'll see what I mean by named constructor. So numbersprite.h. Alright, so I'm actually going to make this constructor private. And that's because it's never going to be called from outside. Instead, we're going to be always using these static methods that return number sprites. So static number sprite, and we can call it HUDNumber. And it'll take in all of these things, except it won't have an optional num digits, and neither will this anymore, because HUDNumbers always have a digit associated with them. That's the other thing. So this is just going to call our number sprite by return number sprite graphics number num digits. So this is what I mean by returning it on the stack. If I were returning it on the heap, I would do something like this, but I'm not doing that. So this is what I mean by returning it on the stack. And like I said, the stack and the heap are kind of hazy topics in C++. So if you feel like researching it, I highly recommend it, and then letting me know how it all works. And good luck. Anyway, so let's build and run this to make sure that this works. That's not good. Playerhealth.cc. There's an extra that thing. So we can build, and we can see that R6 is still there, which is perfect, and it changes to 4 just fine. Okay, so that's what I mean by named constructor. So now let's implement a couple other named constructors. Let's make one for damage. So DamageNumber is going to be something, it'll be like -30 in red text. Example. And HUDNumber 3 in white text. So this DamageNumber isn't going to have a num digits, because the way it works is it just keeps pushing it off to the right. So it's just going to be a graphics and a number, and that's all it's going to be. So what I want to do, the way I want to do this is I just want to expand our number sprite constructor to be able to take in all of these different kinds of parameters. So like if it's red, we need a color type for either red or white, so color, and an operator type for either plus or minus or none. And I can't call it operator, so I'm just going to call it op. You'll have to just remember that that's what operator means. And then we'll just implement these as enums, pretty simple. So this will be a color type. And it'll be either red or white. I'm not doing the first, last enum types because we don't need to iterate over these. They're just to help us remember what's what. And this is an operator type. And it's going to be plus in the case of a experience number, minus in the case of a damage number, and none in the case of an operator. Sorry, in the case of a HUD number. So that should be all we need. Now let's make sure our number sprite is still passing in all the needed arguments. So let's pass it white because it's supposed to be white, and none. So here's another interesting thing. Oh no, maybe it's not. Let me build. Oh yeah, so we need to now take in these parameters to our constructor in our CC implementation file. I'll move these down so you can see them. And I'll build and run just to make sure that we didn't break anything. Nope, didn't break anything. Okay. So to test this, I'm just going to go to probably our game class and game.cc and just create a damage number and draw it in the upper left corner. So while we figure this all out, we can just kind of see it. And so I'll pound include number sprite, and this is temporary. Temp. And down here and draw. Just after everything, doesn't matter because it's just test. Well, it does matter so we can see it. But so I'll do a damage number sprite, scope it in, damage number, passing it in graphics, and passing it in. How about the number 32? 32. All right, so let's see what it does now. And we should just see white text in the upper left because we're still doing the white text. Dang, what? Oh, we don't have a constructor for it yet. So let's implement the constructor for that, and then we can actually call it. So that's in numbersprite.h, and we can just implement it right here. So what is it going to be? Num digits is going to be 0, and it's going to be red, and it's going to be minus. Okay, so now let's build and run, and unexpected that, because I still have a semicolon. One more try. We got it this time. We got it. Okay, so I also have to draw it. Man, what is with me? And I'll draw it at the upper left corner. Okay. There we go. There's our 32 in white text, but what we want is 32 in red text. So let's start implementing that now. Let's start with the red text. That's more interesting, I guess. I don't know. So let's open number.cc, numbersprite.cc, and ksource. This is going to be ksource red y now, or white y. And our red y is going to be immediately above it at 6. Immediately below it. Let's check. Yeah, sorry, immediately below it. Okay, so this will be at 8. So let's switch those. Okay, so now all we need to do is this kind of create a source y, and that's going to be equal to, if color is red, then k source, let's use units of games, then k source red y, otherwise k source red white y. There we go. I can type and just change this to source y. And now let's build and run. Again, just doing everything incrementally. So we still have our white health text, and now we have our red damage text. But now we need a minus side. And it's kind of bad form, but if I just put it in reverse digits, then if I just add it to the end of reverse digits, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to rename this to reverse sprites, I decided, because if we add the operator to it, like the minus sign or the plus sign to the reverse digits, they won't be digits anymore. So let me just rename this to reverse sprites. And do it for all of these. Doesn't change any of our logic. So build. So let's get the operators in there, and I'm going to just put in some constants for those. It's gonna be const units game k op source y is equal to 6, because it's 1 above the white, and k plus source x is going to be at, well, let's look. So up here at 4, and then minus is 5. Okay, so now at the very end, because it's a reverse sprites, right, and we want to add it to the very left side, and so our sprites are right to left, so we can just add in our operator to the end. So I'm just going to do a switch statement for our operator, or our op, and case plus, we just add in a new sprite to our reverse sprites. And it's not going to have digit. Instead, it's going to have k plus source x and k op source y. And same source width and source height. So then we'll do minus, remembering to break, and case none, which we won't do anything. Okay, so for minus, all we need to do is use this plus stuff, except change plus to minus. So CFS minus. Alright, so that should be all we need. Let's build and run just to make sure that our damage text looks right. So indeed, we have a minus 32 in the upper left. So now let's make an experience number just to make sure that that's working. So let's add that constructor into our number sprite. So its example will be plus 12 in white text. And this is going to just take in a graphics and a number, and it'll be white but plus. Okay, so now let's go into GameCC and change this damage number to an experience number. Let's rename this to experience number first. Okay, so build, run just to make sure everything's working, and we do indeed get a plus 32. So that might be no, there's one more thing I decided I'm just going to do just now. I decided I'm going to add the width and height because we want to center our numbers a lot of times. So I'll just, I'm going to create a units of game center, or how about width, and it'll be const. And we need to return half a tile times the number of sprites, so reversed sprites, because all of our sprites are dot size. And then height is just going to be 1/2 tile. So let's go in our game class and just subtract off half the width and half the height to our draw position so that we can make sure that it looks centered. So I need to store this. Number sprite. Number, it's that. Number.draw, and it'll be negative number.width divided by 2 and negative number.height divided by 2. And this is just to make sure that we have our stuff centered. So yeah, that looks centered enough to me. We should see about half the 3, which we do, or a quarter of the 3, and about half the 2, which we do, and none of the minus. So that's perfect. And I think that will conclude this episode. And coming up next, we're going to work on a timer object, and then we are going to implement damage text. So thanks for watching, and happy developing. Actually, one more thing I want to do is just clean up our game class and get rid of that junk, and get rid of that to do temp. Okay, so now happy developing. Thanks for watching.